host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Now, this here could quite possibly, right? If let's hope not. I hope not. But if the wheels start falling off the bus, right? Things start going south in a hurry, right? There's an interesting little tidbit here in Russell Wilson's contract that isn't usually something you usually see. Now, all of the guys, okay, they get usually get signing bonuses, right? And now the beauty of a signing bonus, right, is that with the signing bonus, like Russell Wilson, I know he gets 10.5 million guaranteed. Let's just make it 10 million because I'm an idiot. Let's round stuff off, make it simple. It's $10 million, right? Now, he has an $8 million signing bonus, which means basically his base salary is $2 million. Usually, you'll get that $8 million signing bonus and you can spread it out over the life of the contract. Well, the contract's only 1 year, so you can't spread it out. Yes, it's a bit odd. Usually, I mean, you can see where it might give him like his base salary would be $8 million. I mean, if it's only a 1 year, base salary could be like $8 million, and you give a $2 million signing bonus, which means you give him the money up front, all that stuff. But you don't have to split it up because he's only got a 1 year contract. So why are they giving him an $8 million signing bonus and a $2 million base salary? Very interesting. Well, I've got an article here. Let's go over this here. A quirk in Russell Wilson's contract. Jameis Winston. Is Jameis Winston the future starter? New York Giants gave quarterback Russell Wilson a 1 year contract with $10.5 million guaranteed. The structure of those guarantees is interesting. Wilson has a $2 million base salary, an $8 million signing bonus, and $500,000 workout bonus. He'll need to participate in roughly 85% of the offseason program to earn that bonus. Now, just all things in the past. Obviously I don't have a crystal ball and all that stuff, but all things in the past are pointing in the direction that he'll be there. I don't see him not being in those off-season programs and all that stuff. So, you can pretty much pencil him in for that $500,000. Such a large portion of the compensation coming from a signing bonus is unusual for the Giants. The split between base salary and signing bonus had been far different in similar 1 year contracts awarded by this regime. Although the circumstances were far different, the compensation in running back Saquon Barkley's revised 1 year deal, $10.1 million contract in 2023 was most comparable to Wilson's deal. Barkley had an $8.1 million base salary and a $2 million signing bonus. $8 million base salary, $2 million signing bonus. It's reversed for Wilson. He has a $2 million base salary and an $8 million signing bonus. Quarterback Drew Lock signed a 1 year, $5 million contract last offseason with $2.95 million base salary, and a $2 million signing bonus. Paris Campbell, 1 year, $4.7 million contract in 2023, had a $1.4 million base salary and a $1.5 million signing bonus with another $1.8 million in workout and roster bonuses. To have these signing bonus would make more sense if the Giants were using void years, because that would allow them to spread the $8 million to a lower cap hit this season. Like they could put literally four void years onto the end of the contract. Or if they wanted to put 3 onto the end of the contract, right? And they got this season, then they could take that $8 million. This is what the Eagles do. This is why the Eagles have one of the reasons why the Eagles have such a good roster. They have all these guys that make all this money, but they just spread out all the money over all these void years. A lot of the other teams don't want to do that because you're kicking the can down the road. Giants don't want to do that. A lot of teams don't want to do that. The Eagles do that. It paid off for the Eagles. If it don't pay off for the Eagles, they're screwing themselves in the future years, but it worked out for them, right? Anyway, I can't stand the Eagles, so I don't want to talk about them anymore. But, so Russell Wilson, his $8 million signing bonus, right? He's a one-year contract, and if you put, say, 3 void years on it, right, you can spread that I believe the signing bonus out over the 4 years. It would be $2 million for this season, 2, 2, and 2. So that means his salary this season would be $2 million base salary, of $2 million signing bonus, and a $500,000 workout, right? So that means his salary this season would only be $4.5 million instead of the $10.5 million. But the Giants aren't doing that. The $2 million base salary and an $8 million signing bonus, which is all on this season. So it's why are they giving it such a big signing bonus if they can't spread it out? If it's not beneficial, it's not helping might not be helping the Giants out. Right? Give me a second here. They could have added 3 void years to reduce the cap hit by $6 million this season, while leaving that amount in dead money on next year's cap. That's what the Giants did on a 1-year, $5.3 million contract with tackle A'Shawn Robinson in 2023. Giants added 3 void years to push $2.1 million of his $2.8 million signing bonus off into the 2023 cap. But there are no indications the Giants are using void years with Wilson's contract. So what's up? It doesn't matter how the Giants restructure Wilson's contract since he's getting all $10.5 million this season. So why would they alter their typical structure? Maybe the Giants were just being benevolent by giving Wilson the majority of his payments sooner, right? Instead of, his base salary, he gets a base salary, he gets so much money. Maybe said, well, we'll give you an $8 million, so that way you have $8 million in your pocket right now, right? And as the season goes along, you get $2 million, 17 weeks. So each week you're going to get a paycheck of whatever, a little over $100,000 or something like that. But we'll give you $8 million up front. Maybe that's what it was. Base salaries are typically paid out in equal installments over the 18 weeks of the regular season. So basically, he's going to get $2 million guaranteed over 18 weeks. So each week he's going to get a check for a little over $100,000. Based on the way the Giants pay signing bonuses, Wilson will likely receive portions of the signing bonus in separate payments in April, June, and August. There's another possible reason for the structure. Things don't go well. Wilson's $2 million base salary will make him inevitably tradable. It's not a stretch to imagine a scenario where the Giants are 2-7 again at the trade deadline, with the team wanting to give a young quarterback an extended trial. The Giants and Wilson would both benefit from a separation at that point, and with Wilson only carrying a $1 million salary for the second half of the season, he could be attracted to a contending team with an injured starter or in need of a better backup. So if, right, say anybody, right, wanted to trade for Russell Wilson, right, well, we'll give you a 5th-round pick for Russell Wilson. We'll give you a 5th-round pick. You give us Russell Wilson. We got Russell Wilson for the second half of the season, a borderline Hall of Fame quarterback, right? We can use him as a backup. It's only going to cost us $1 million. Makes him tradable. Now, even if the Giants have used more conventional split with, say, a $6 million base salary and a $4 million signing bonus, they could just eat some of his salary to facilitate a trade, which is true too. So maybe there's nothing suspicious about the structure of Wilson's guarantee, but it's at least an interesting departure from the Giants' typical practice. It is. It is. And we got future starter. Winston signed a 2-year, $8 million contract to be Wilson's backup. Winston, signed a 2-year, $8 million deal. Winston gets $5.3 million guaranteed, including a $2 million signing bonus. Winston was seeking an opportunity to be a starter or a bridge starter for a team with a young quarterback this offseason. When those opportunities weren't presented, he signed with the Giants, even though he knew a veteran like Wilson could be added to to be the starter. Winston made an interesting comment that he could have that starter bridge opportunity in the future with the Giants. That scenario could unfold if the Giants draft the quarterback this year or next year. Wilson is on a one-year deal, so Winston is the only quarterback under contract for 2026 because Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan's only signed for this year. Well, so Wilson's only signed for this year. We haven't drafted a quarterback yet, so. Meaning that Winston, he's positioned to be the veteran bridge if there's a young quarterback added sometime over the next year. Winston's situation is similar to that of Tyrod Taylor, who signed a 2-year, $11 million contract with the Giants in 2022. Starter Daniel Jones was in the final year of his contract when Taylor signed. Seemed like the Giants were preparing for Taylor to serve as the bridge for 2023. They had moved on from Jones and drafted a quarterback. Of course, that's not how it played out. We all know that. But that thought process behind Winston's 2-year deal seems appealing now, right? One hope for the offense. It's obvious that the Giants are pinning their hopes for offensive improvement on their belief in their quarterback upgrade. The other 10 starters from the 31st ranked offense are returning. The 31st ranked offense, we got all the starters coming back. Oh, my God. Right? Giants could add reinforcements in the draft, but there isn't a clear spot for a rookie to start, which is true. Especially with the Giants potentially using their top picks on defensive and or quarterback, which is true. I mean, there's nobody, right? You look at that, right? It's like, I mean, as pathetic as this is, right? It's the 31st ranked offense. Now, don't get me wrong. Tim Boyle, Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan, right? Daniel Jones, Drew. I mean, we had we had 300 quarterbacks last season. We had 10 different starting offensive lines. That had a lot to do with it. We didn't bring back Saquon. Right, another conversation for another day. But but the 31st ranked offense, and we're bringing everybody back. That's a little scary. But we did bring in a new quarterback. So, but if you think about it, right? I mean, the only place that I could see a starter, I mean, would be like if the Giants shocked the world and took a running back in the first or second round, right? If they took Hunter, if Hunter fell to him at 3 and they picked Hunter at 3. Maybe being a starter, maybe at the other wide receiver position, maybe bumping Slayton off to this, whatever. I don't know. But there's really not a whole heck of a lot, as far as the Giants, starting possibilities. I mean, this is not a draft for centers, not a draft for guards. We're going to go over guards in just a second here. Show you how pathetic this guard class is. Unless you draft a tackle and you want to slide them inside, but it's just specifically guards. This is not the draft for that. But I mean, it just we got Theo Johnson. He's our starting tight end, right? So as crazy as that is, I mean, we brought back 10 of the 11 starters from last season, right? And on the 31st ranked offense. So, man, that's crazy. Giants' confidence in their offensive line is apparent with the same 5 starters returning. Now, as I said once again, the beginning of the year, the first 5 games or so, when all the 5 guys were working together, we were not that bad. We actually won a couple games, right? Team's internal belief is that this unit was playing well before left tackle Andrew Thomas suffered a season-ending Lisfranc injury in Week 6. Now, let's just hope that Andrew Thomas, one of these years, the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever that is with it, one of these years he can actually stay healthy all season long. Wouldn't that be unbelievable? Giants allowed 2.3 sacks per game in the first 6 games. 2.3. I'm not a rocket scientist. So 17-17, we 34. 0.3 would be another third. It'd be 39 sacks given up all season long at that rate. 2.3 sacks per game, 39 sacks. We can deal with that. which ranked 13th in the league. 2.3 sacks, first 6 games. 13th in the league. We're in the upper half. They allowed 3.1 sacks per game in the final 11 games. But, I mean, that's with all those different, offensive line units. 3.1, so that's not bad. That's 51 sacks. That's not great. But, so when they gave up 3.1 sacks per game over the final 11 games, that ranked 27th. They allowed 14.5 pressures in the first 6 games, which was tied for 27th. They allowed 15.3 pressures per game in the final 11 games, which ranked 29th. The run blocking actually improved as the season progressed. The Giants averaged 3.9 yards per carry in the first 6 games, which ranked 29th. They averaged 4.4 yards per carry in the final 11 games, which ranked 14th. Now, also, let's not forget, right, who started those first 5-6 games or so? Motor Singletary. Who started those final 10, 11 games or so? Tyrone Tracy Jr. So that might have something to do with it too. Plus also might have something to do with why Tyrone Tracy is the starter now, right? Plus he's a good receiver. So the numbers reflect that Thomas's absence was felt in the pass protection, but the unit was still merely mediocre when he was in the lineup. At the annual league meetings this last week, General Manager Joe Shane said the offensive line was playing well enough for us to win with Thomas. That's despite their 2-4 record in those games. So 2-4, and we finished, right? We finished 3-14. Right? So over the final 11 games, we won 1. Let's see. So that's despite their 2-4 record in the first 6 games, which is further evidence that all of the last season's offensive failures are being blamed on quarterback Daniel Jones. Shane said swing tackle was an important position to address this offseason. So they gave James Hudson, right, for being a swing tackle. The Giants also prioritized re-signing Craig Van Roten, whom Shane called a glue guy, to a 1-year, $3.3 million contract after missing out on a high-priced Will Fries in free agency. Dable committed to John Michael Schmitz as the starting center. Let's also not forget, maybe Neal slides in. Let's hope. They try him at guard, try the guy at guard. Shane hinted that more offensive line help could be coming in the draft. Now, they would be crazy not to pick an offensive lineman in this draft. The problem is, one of the problems the Giants have had, and it just seems like it's had for a while, is anytime we draft, a lot of time we draft somebody later on, they just, they ain't no good. We were supposed to get a Zudu, right? Maybe or McKeithen, right? One of a Parrot, one of those guys, right? Yeah, right. Well, we draft them in, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, whatever. We'll develop them, right? Give them a couple of years developing. Boom, plug them in there. We're good to go. Nope. We even draft guys in the first round, and they have a hard time, right? I mean, we just don't develop offensive linemen. But they would be crazy because they didn't do it last season, right? Didn't draft an offensive lineman last season, right? So they would be crazy, right? Because we took what? Wide receiver, right? Cornerback, safety, tight end, running back, linebacker, right? No offensive line, no defensive lineman, no offensive lineman. So we would be crazy this season not to add a defensive lineman / edge rusher, whatever you want to call it, and an offensive lineman. But we got to draft somebody that we can develop, and we got to develop these freaking guys. We can't constantly spending 1st and 2nd round picks on offensive linemen and hope and pray they can't do that. Can't do that. All right. Defensive deficiencies. The Giants' run defense was a pain point last season. They finished 27th in rushing yards allowed and tied for 23rd in yards per carry allowed. Curiously, the run defense improved drastically late in the season after defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence and inside linebacker Bobby Okereke were lost to injuries. Giants allowed 5.1 yards per carry through the first 13 weeks of the season, which was tied for the most in the league. They allowed 3.5 yards per carry from weeks 14 to 18 without Lawrence and Okereke. Go figure that one, huh? which ranked fourth in the league. Go frickin' figure. Giants' biggest free agency signings came in the secondary with a 3-year, $54 million contract for cornerback Paulson Adebo and a 3-year, $45.3 million contract, right, with Javon Holland. So, but, it's interesting. It is an interesting, with Russell Wilson, right? Very interesting with his contract. I said it would make him. I said if the wheels start falling off the bus toward the end of the season, right, or by the trade deadline, right, he's only owed maybe about $1 million left to go on his contract, right? Make him very tradable. For $1 million, a team gives you like a 5th or 6th round pick or whatever it is for Wilson. They use them for the rest of the season. They have the backup or whatever it is for one of these teams trying to make a playoff push, or if one of these teams got a real good team like the Eagles or the Chiefs or somebody like that, and their starter goes down, get Wilson in there, right? Maybe they just keep continue the team on to the playoffs, right? For only $1 million. Right, they give $1 million and they ante up a 5th or 6th round pick or something like that to the Giants. So it's interesting. Very, very interesting. The Giants with their the $8 million signing bonus that they gave to Russell Wilson. That is interesting.